Monday, August 25th, and I spent Friday rebalancing my father's portfolio. So we're going to go over this. First off, TrendSpider is having a huge Labor Day set. We're going to go over a lot of what TrendSpider did over the weekend to show you exactly what's going to go on this week, because we've got NVIDIA earnings, and their new large language model gives you an outlook for NVIDIA. I'll give you a couple of trade ideas on that one. What's in the markets? JC Parrott gives us something. Ryan Dietrich gives us something. I will also go over the top 4 earners, the top 4 gainers, when they were picked in the Alpha Picks portfolio, because the Alpha Picks portfolio is doubling the S&P year to date. We will look at the Catalyst Watch. I will give you a YOLO trade that I'm probably entering. We will look at Palantir. I will look at give you a podcast with Howard Marks on it. He gives you some insight into why this market may not be a buy the market right now. And we will, again, look at the earnings this week, and then we'll look at scans. Where are we on just on TrendSpider here? Hold on one second. Penny, I love you. Please stop. Okay. The algorithm, 4-hour algorithm got you out. Just knowing the formula, it probably will get you in if we have a green day. But in pre-market, you are down 0.37%. There is no real reason. So last week we had Jackson Hole, and we heard from Jay Powell on Friday. It is what it is. I will go over that in a little bit. But this week, you're waiting on NVIDIA earnings. That's the big move. So I want to first start out with a video from Trading Rush. This is one of my favorite YouTube channels. He has since I found him free back in 2020, has since gone to Patreon. So he doesn't put out as much as he did before. But this is how I found the 4-hour algorithm. He did a video on the MACD. Now he's saying why starting with price action saved my trading career. Over and over again, price action is what I tell you. The only thing that matters is price. If you took every indicator off of this screen on this chart on TrendSpider and just use these candles, and you didn't know what they told you or which direction the stock was going in, take the indicators off, take the moving averages off, take the MACD, take the RSI, take the Bollinger Band, take everything off, and try and determine where a stock is going. Do some paper trading. Again, I suggest that you get a free chart program and just learn price action. TrendSpider is having their huge Labor Day sale. $7 trials. You can try this out for $7 for 2 weeks. Here's my prediction. If you try it out for $7 for 2 weeks, you won't even get started on all of the depth that this program has to offer. But it will give you an idea of what it has to offer. The first step is go and get a free trading tool, something like Active Trader Pro, which I used for years, something like Thinkorswim, something like Webull. Or Robinhood has a desktop now. Again, watch this video. He shows you about price action and get a chart, because the chart is going to be what you want. The only thing that matters in a stock is the price. You don't care about the PE. You don't care about how they beat earnings. All you care about is how that relates to price. So everything else doesn't matter. Get a charting program. Now, when I tell you that this is a great sale, think of it this way. This top tier, okay, it comes at $107 a month. That may sound like a lot, but say, for instance, you know nothing about charts and you have this within your budget to put $107 in there per month, okay? It comes with 52 trainings per year. Divide the 107 by 4. Okay, because you're going to get about 4 per month. You know, in February, you might not get 4, but you might get 4 per month trainings. You get 52 training sessions per year. So at $107, that's like what, $26 and change for each training session? Name a teacher where you get a one-on-one Zoom session with a product expert who can teach you all about technicals, and you can give him an idea. Hey, I'm interested in finding out where the support and the resistance levels are in Palantir, because you've owned Palantir, okay? At $26 per hour for the next year, you get 52 trading sessions. That's the key. So you can do the $7 trial and get one training session. But I urge you, if it's within your budget, bump it up to advanced. You can get the enhanced, you can get the premium. Everything's laid out here. This is such a good program. The key point is that any chart program will help you become a better trader or investor, and that the majority of the indicators on your screen, this is what Trading Rush tells you, they're lagging. What does lagging indicator mean? Well, it means that the price will move before the indicator actually tells you to get in. So for instance, my 4-hour algorithm, it's based on the MACD. Look at the price action moving up, and then the 4-hour algorithm gets you in. It doesn't time the bottom. It's a lagging indicator, but it's a good indicator. There's a few indicators out there that are predictor indicators, and they're available in TrendSpider. Look at the list of indicators that they have available in TrendSpider. And by the way, the great part is that if you don't have the indicator, you can create one with the custom indicator editor. So you can do it. It uses natural language. TrendSpider ups your game. It ups your ability to backtest hundreds of indicators, the ability for you to custom program the indicator. You create a watch list. So let's just say you want to find all AI infrastructure stocks under the 200-day in the Weinstein stage 2 with an oversold RSI, a MACD that's under the oscillator. Boom. What do? You build it. You build the watch list, you set up the scanner, you set up the alert for a stock, or get an email in the morning of all the stocks that fit your criteria. All of this is now done in regular language using AI. You don't need to know how to program. Last week, Sam Altman said, okay, this is a quote from last week. Are we in a phase where investors as a whole are overreacting to AI? My opinion is yes. He just set the bubble up there. Don't get stuck at the top. Is AI the most, he also said, is AI the most important thing to happen in a very long time? My opinion is also yes. If this is a bubble, and we're going to go over this, you want to know how the price is moving in the stocks and ETFs that are in your portfolio. TrendSpider allows you to set up alerts. Say, for instance, I wanted to know just last week, hey, QQQ got me out. Well, I do it. You want to know why? Because QQQ, while it doesn't outperform the just buy and hold, which is 55% over 24 months, you can create a strategy that does beat buy and hold. And that saves you from the bubble. Again, my 4-hour algorithm, and I found TrendSpider based on the fact that the bubble, which was COVID, that's when we developed this. Now, Friday was crazy. Is it a top? I don't know. But this is JC Parrott saying, hey, new all-time high, old resistance turns to new support. You can see this, okay? That is resistance right there. December 2024, February 2025, June 2025, it tried to break out. And then July 2025, this is the Dow Jones. It finally caught up. I spent Friday rebalancing my parents' portfolio. Okay, it was a lot of individual stocks that we were selling at highs and moving them more towards the indexes. Want to know why? Because some of these stocks are super, super high. And I just said, you know what? At 80 years old, my parents deserve a little safety. So we're going to take this out and we're going to buy VOO. We're going to take this tech stock that's at all-time highs and we're going to buy QQQ. Provides a little safety. Doesn't get you out of your risk, but it provides a little safety. And then Ryan tells us Friday was a rare 90-90 day, meaning 90% of the volume and stocks on the New York Stock Exchange were higher. These events tend to be quite bullish, with the S&P higher more than 90% of the time a year later and up more than 23% on average. The numbers are just facts. These aren't opinions. These are numbers. But does it give you 100% certainty that this won't stop? No. There is risk in the market. That's why I'm using TrendSpider and other tools. We'll go into those other tools. But again, the Dow finally notched its first record close of the year. It makes history. Again, S&P, the Nasdaq, and Dow Jones are now at all-time highs in this year. That's a big freaking deal. And it's August. Remember, most of the crashes that we've seen in history have come in September and October. I'm not trying to scare you. Dan Niles wrote an incredible post, okay? I will give you just a summary of this. He believes the market melts up into Thanksgiving, and he's hoping for a Thanksgiving rally. You can go and read it. It's super long. He even gives you top 5 picks for this. And this isn't charged. This is free. This is on freaking Twitter. Okay? But I want to point you towards a portfolio that outperforms. And it's Alpha Picks. You want to know why? I got my Friday email, and I'll include some screenshots in the newsletter. But Alpha Pick's AI infrastructure stocks have averaged 200% returns as early positioning captures the explosive growth. Alpha Pick's dividend stocks stand to benefit as rates fall with attractive yields and rising valuations. This is from the Friday summary. And you can see the portfolio outperforms the S&P. And by the way, they changed this on Friday just based on reader suggestions. They focused more on a deeper dive in the portfolio itself versus an actual S&P. So again, you get a deep dive in every week into the Alpha Picks portfolio. And it's outperforming, again, super outperforming. The total return year to date, 20% versus 10%. In the S&P. That is fantastic. That's doubling the S&P year to date. Okay? And now what I want to do is I want to show you the top 4 stocks. I have it in this tweet. Okay? I'm going to shrink this down because you can't see it on the screen. But the first one is AppLovin. AppLovin was picked on 11/15/2023. 11/15/2023. It's up 940%. Let's go over to TrendSpider, and we're going to look at this one, okay? Go back to a weekly. Did you know, let's see, in November 2023, did you know that AppLovin was a great stock to pick? I didn't. Alpha Picks gave it to us. Again, November 2023. If you knew it was a great pick, kudos to you. I didn't. I bought it. I'm up, let's see, 940%. Celestica in October 2023. CLS. Let's just look. Did you know this was a great pick in October 2023? Down here, let's see, October 2020. It was on its way up. Then you get to October, and boy, right there, did you know it was a great pick right here at $24? You're trading at $188 right now. Again, this portfolio is buy and hold. Powell Industries, May 2023. Powell Industries. Did you know this was a great pick? And you've seen some fluctuations in these stocks. You've seen ups and downs. May 2023 right here. March, April, May. Boy, it was trading at about $43. Today, you're at $262. It didn't time the top because the top was $364. Maybe you have another $100 in there because it's a strong buy still. Sterling Industries, picked on 8/1/2023. Again, These are the top performers. So it's not, the top performers are not going to be ones that you picked in the last month or so. Even though the last month we've seen one that's up like 40% or 50% in the last month. But these are all up multiple percentage. Okay? This was 2023. Did you know to buy this at 51? Because you're trading at 279 right now. Again, 279. You are up 347% in STRL. There's 4 picks for you. Okay? And the great part about Alpha Picks, you don't need to do anything. You literally buy on the 1st, buy on the 15th, and when they email you to sell, you decide if you want to sell. I have taken it a little further. I trade these on winning stocks. So yes, Sterling Infrastructure, I bought more of this, and I've added to it on its way up. Did you know about this stock in May of 2025? Because it was trading at $162 and it still had a great fundamental reason to buy. That's Alpha Picks. That's how you do this. It is very, very simple for me. A portion of my portfolio is in Alpha Picks, and part of my trades and part of my watch list are Alpha Pick stock. So again, if you need this, go over to Linktree. The top one is TrendSpider. We just went over that one, okay? The 4th line, the 4th bubble is Alpha Picks, and that beats the S&P. That's the portfolio that you see right there. Again, the performance is outpaced. But let's go over another tool that I love, and that's Seeking Alpha Premium, okay? Because you can bundle this with Alpha Picks. If you just get Alpha Picks, that's fine. If you just want Alpha Picks to kind of feed you the data, and then you use your own chart program and you buy the portfolio and you pick and choose, that's fine. But Seeking Alpha Premium bundled with Alpha Picks is the hack that you need in 2025 during an AI freaking bubble. And this Catalyst Watch, it comes out every week, Friday, 3 p.m. And it guides you through every day of what you want to see. So if you have a stock and you own a stock, say you own NVIDIA, and you didn't know that there were earnings. For some reason, you own a large position in NVIDIA, and you didn't know it's coming up on Wednesday. Boy, CrowdStrike as well. Pure Storage, Five Below, Williams-Sonoma, which we talked about last week. Companies due to participate in the 2-day Deutsche Bank technology conference. Fortinet, which probably will move on CrowdStrike as well. Arista Networks, CoreWeave, Microsoft, ServiceNow. And then Thursday, you have huge earnings from DELL, Marvell, Autodesk. Again, this email takes you through everything. Now, I want to bring you, again, well, let's just talk about the bundle, because the bundle saves you $159. You not only get Alpha Picks, but you get premium. And that, again, is available on Linktree right here. And if you don't want the Alpha Picks portfolio, the great thing is you can get Seeking Alpha by itself, and you get the free 7-day trial. I just talked about Alpha Picks portfolio. The free 7-day trial on Seeking Alpha Premium is even better, because what can you do? You can look up the top 2025 stocks. Steve Kress in January puts out 10 stocks at the beginning of each year, and it has greatly outpaced the S&P. That comes with your premium membership. And FYI, just in June, he put out another 10 stocks which are out for performing again. You can, on your free 7-day trial, you can go and try that. So honestly, just go and get it. Now let's talk about, the Sidekick. This is Sidekick from TrendSpider. They are promoting it. FYI, if you are a TrendSpider subscriber, you get 10 messages per month with Sidekick. That's all you get. It is incredibly expensive. Some people have been complaining to me that, why do we have to pay for this, blah, blah, blah. You have to pay for it because it's expensive. The cost of these searches is not free. And yes, you get Perplexity for free. Yes, you get some ChatGPT stuff for free. But the back end, these people and the companies are paying for this. And TrendSpider, it's super expensive for them to run this. So they are charging for it, but you get 10 for free. Now, I will tell you, the hack is just follow TrendSpider on Twitter. They're putting out gold, okay? What does this say about HIMS? HIMS is closing in on its 200 SMA. Let's go and look at the chart. This may be a trade, and you know this one pumps. The 4-hour algorithm got you in at 44.97. In pre-market, you're trading at 44.13, down about 1%. Now, this one wins only 38% of the time, but you make 191%. So you might take the loss. The average loss is 6%. So if I were trading this one, I would buy it, and then I would put in an alert for 6% down. And if it goes 6% down, I'm cutting my losses. Because you know what? You're giving up 6% because your average win is 26%. This one moves. And I've identified these two, 49 and 63. Remember, we topped out at 63. Is it going to get back there? Well, the MACD, which I told you is a lagging indicator, it's kind of below the oscillator. The RSI coming off of oversold levels, it's still at 37. Now, is the weekly still stretched? Yes. Could it come down to this 50-day at 37? Yes. If you get this one under 40, I think it's a good deal. But it's a trade. And you can read exactly what Sidekick tells you. Sidekick tells you, based on my analysis of the price data, here are the 5 most recent times HIMS has touched or crossed the 200-day. May 7th. Subsequent move, 25%. March 21st, 2025, subsequent move, 13%. January 2025, subsequent move, 22%. December 2024, subsequent move, 6%. October, subsequent move, 35%. The summary, average gain after touching the 200 days, 20%. 5 out of 5 times resulted in positive moves. Time to reach peak after touching moving average, 1 to 8 weeks. Most significant move and most recent move. Again, it summarizes it all for you. All you had to do was ask, based on my analysis of the price data, here are the 5 most recent times HIMS touched the 200-day. Again, you just ask it. It's up here in the right-hand corner, and you can spend one of your 10 messages to ask if you wanted to trade it. For me, with the 4-hour algorithm going in there, I might do this. Now, last week I told you, TrendSpider, they said, hey, the average buyer since IPO continues to support price. Exactly what you want to see. Oscar last week, let's just look at Oscar. OSCR. Let's look at the 5-day move in Oscar. It's up 9.45%. Boy, look at Oscar. The 4-hour algorithm got you in here at 14.24. It got you well below. You've got a gap up here to $20. Are you going to hit it? Well, again, the IPO price, if you were to put in your buy right now at 1681 in pre-market, it is 1683. So if you put in a price at 1683, you want to stop it at that average, the IPO VWAP. And it would be $13. You're giving up that money because the 4-hour algorithm makes you as much as buy and hold. Your average win is 26%. So if you wanted to say, okay, well, where's 26%? Let's see. It's already 20%. Would I take that trade? No. I'd rather have the HIMS trade. That's how you balance your trades. That's how you look at these things. Okay? And many of you hold Palantir. I don't. This is a bull bear article on Palantir. Okay? The bulls still say it's great. Now, I will tell you, I am still a bull on Palantir. Even at these prices, I am still a bull on Palantir. You can read this article to see what they say. The quant says it's a hold. Wall Street says it's worth $151, which is down 4%. Have they been chasing it down? No. As the prices come down, they've kind of doubled down on that 150 level. And so if we look at Palantir, it's down 1.5%. The 4-hour algorithm has you out, would have saved you about 8-9%, getting you out there with a nice gain. MACD down below the oscillator. RSI 38. Just knowing the formula of when the 4-hour algorithm will get in, it doesn't have you in at all. But if we trade sideways, it would be a good thing. And I'll point to a weekly. Are we putting in another little base like we did at 80, which went from December 2024 all the way to April 2025, and then it broke out. Are we going to put in that floor at about 150, which, by the way, 123 is the previous high where it pulled back from? You can see that right there. So are we going to do multiple weeks here at 150 and then it breaks out again? Well, one of the podcasts that I listened to over the weekend, and I listened to a clip, not the whole thing, but it was The Compound with Tom Lee. And Tom Lee said he was consulting with a company that told him, and he wouldn't tell us which company it is, but they told him, hey, we had some problems with some logistics and some supply chain stuff. Basically, Palantir came in and they loaded everything, invoices, accounting data, everything, all emails, loaded it into their software. Comes out, boom. They have seen significant improvement in their supply chain with Palantir. That's an actual use case where a company is willing to buy the software and they're willing to spend the money in order to get the result that they want. So I am bullish on Palantir. Does it mean that you're going to pay? Let's see. Financials, let's see the valuation. Does it mean you want to pay 244 times forward earnings? That's crazy to me. So am I looking at this one? Yes. Am I ready to buy it? Even at $80, I didn't want to buy it. There's a short report out there that says they're going to 50. I don't think they go to 50. If you get down to $80 on this one, go and take it. If you get down to 120 on this one, I will probably take it. I won't be loading into this at 120. I will be loading into this under 80 though. Even though the valuation still doesn't make sense, I like the stock. People just aren't selling it. And that's the bull bear case on that. Now, people may know, you may not know, 50% of my portfolio is still in Apple. This is an Instagram slideshow that you can watch because this is a bearish view on Apple about how Steve Jobs gave Tim Cook the keys and Tim Cook basically said, you know what, I'm going to financially look at this one and we're going to make it good for shareholders, but the product portion will be lacking and that it's finally coming due. Well, that may be true. And it's again, it puts into here how Buffett put $1 billion into Cook's Apple. And it was his greatest investment ever, he said. But again, this could be the past. Is Apple dead? I don't think so. There's rumors that they're going in with Google to improve Siri. In my mind, this is a $260 stock. It will probably get up to $250 or $240 and just hit a wall. But I think it's a $260 stock. I will be selling it at certain points in time because there are other places that do better in the market. But if you're an Apple bear and you don't believe in Apple, go and read this because here's the thing. It might be a company that is hurting on product. But the reality is the investment of this company over the last 10 years has been one of the best that has outperformed the S&P. Now, we talked about the S&P. I want to point out to you, this is one of the best, and I've only watched the clips. I haven't listened to the entire episode. Again, there was some great podcasts this weekend. But this is my first Millions podcast with a legendary investor, Howard Marks. And the 7 things, this Ogas highlights the 7 things that Howard Marks does. This is just a masterclass on these clips. The first one, there's risk in the market. It doesn't come from the companies. It comes from the investors. This is a masterclass. This is why Buffett tells you when others are fearful in the market, be greedy. When they're greedy, be fearful. Because the market is a living, breathing thing, and it is based on everybody's opinion of the market. For those that don't know, the 2 hosts, Sean, he's a gambler. He's into crypto. He's in and out of stocks. He's super risky. Sam, the other host, is not. Sam is worth about probably 30 to 50 million bucks, I would say. His investments are in VTI and VOO. He talks about it. He's got a large portion of his stock in their sponsor, HubSpot. But he's just scared of the market. And the second clip was particularly interesting to me, okay? So this is about a JP Morgan study where on the bottom axis, they put the returns, the 10-year returns. On the left axis, they put the PE of the S&P, okay? As the S&P goes up, the PE, and you go out in returns, on annual returns, your average annual return goes down as the PE multiple goes up. Well, we're at an all-time high. We're at 23. His theory here is it makes no sense to buy the S&P right now at 23 times forward earnings. Now, I would argue that that's 10 years. The average 10-year return is between 2% and minus 2% and 2%. Average 10-year return. That's the yearly return. So if you've got 4% bonds and you want to hold them for 10 years, it would be better to buy a 4% bond than 2% in the S&P. Understand, that's the difference. And he's saying the S&P trading at 23 times is that. And he says, hey, we might be in an AI bubble. And that's his theory. Now, I will argue that if we are in an AI bubble, that money's still being spent, but we're seeing some slowdowns here and some craziness and blah, blah, blah. Do I think we hit all-time highs 10 years from now? Yes. Do I think we grow into that? Yes. Do I think there will be heavy volatility like we've seen the past 5 years? Absolutely. But Howard Marks, this podcast is one you should absolutely listen to if you are afraid of the multiple of the S&P. Take it in and then make your decision. You will need to decide for yourself. But it's why I go over at the beginning. The only thing that matters is price. And they told you way back in 2021, we're overpriced. And again, if you bought at the top here, the S&P at 473 in January 2022, before that downturn, you're still doing okay. You're still not doing bad. Okay? You're still up 3 years, 23%. Divide 23 by 3. That's more than 2% per year. Okay? Even if you bought right before COVID, okay? February 2020 at the highs. 5 years, you're up 87%. Now, does this mean that this will go on forever? No. No, we can take a look at SPY. I'm going to switch to SPY because VOO is a newer one, and we're going to go to a monthly candle. We'll go to a monthly, okay? SPY goes all the way back to the 90s. This is a crazy move. Let's go to the S&P. SPX, I think. Yep. S&P 500. Let's just go back to a monthly. We're not going to do the 4 hour. We're going to go to a monthly, and we're going to look at this because this goes back all the way here to the 1970s. No matter when you bought, it was a buy the dip situation. So Howard Marks is trying to optimize you for 10 years. He's going to tell you, hey, the S&P doesn't make sense to buy here. I think that the S&P makes sense to buy here because I think you can use the charts to try and make sure that you're optimizing yourself. Now, let's talk about earnings this week because the big thing is happening on Wednesday, NVIDIA. And TrendSpider basically did your work for you. Give me a comprehensive overview of NVIDIA heading into earnings week and a strong prediction at the end based on your findings. They did the work for you. That's essentially what Sidekick can do. And it goes through everything. It charts things for you. It doesn't, it doesn't mince words. This is like having an analyst in your pocket. But all we care about is the verdict. NVIDIA likely meets or beats, but guidance could disappoint. Near-term volatility on China risk, long-term strength intact. Dan Ives went over in his long thing that I brought up at the beginning. He went over that, yes, NVIDIA could bring up China, and that could bring the stock price down. So 4-hour algorithm had you out with a 64% gain. It doesn't beat buy and hold, but it does well. And you're sitting up here at 178. All-time highs are around 181. How do you want to play this one with the volatility? Well, I'll give you my idea. And it would be, if you think that the market is going to say, you know what? We're going to worry about the China news, because China has been telling their companies not to buy American chips. That could hurt NVIDIA. Okay? Then you go here and you look at NVDS. Does this do well on the 4-hour algorithm? No, it doesn't. So find a strategy that works. But if you think NVIDIA is going to be short, use NVDS. I don't do options. This is what I do. If you think the market's going to take the crazy move, the guidance that NVIDIA does, maybe do NVDL. We saw the 4-hour algorithm make you 82%. This made you 152% during this crazy run. Now it outperforms buy and hold over the last 2 years. That's because NVIDIA has been in a bullish cycle. So if you think, if this one gives you a buy before earnings, maybe you want to try it. Or NVDS. Again, you have to do the research and you have to determine your opinion. But the reality is, Sidekick has given you all of the information that you need to make your decision. And then you can go over here to Seeking Alpha and say, okay, NVIDIA, what does the quant think? Well, they think it's a hold. They think it's a hold, and it's based on valuation. The valuation is cheaper than it's ever been, but it's still pretty high. They need to continue to grow in order to do that. And when you look at the growth, they're growing at 86% year over year. That is a huge number to continue to grow at that pace. If they slow their growth, the stock price will go down. And that's what you have to assume, is that they're going to continue to grow in order to hold this one. Now, Wall Street thinks it's a $192 stock and 8% upside. They have basically been every time the stock makes a new high, they have been chasing it up. So that's how you play NVIDIA this week. Now, earnings this week, there are tons more earnings. There are a lot. Okay? Bob, one of the ones that just came out was Pinduoduo. They're spot on. Spot on. Drawing from Peter Lynch's investment principles, the analysis highlights PDD's superior profitability, valuation, and operating metrics compared to JD, reinforcing its leadership in Chinese. That was written prior to their earnings. And guess what? Well, they're down now. They were up 10%. They were up 10%. I bet something happened on that phone call. Let's see. We'll look at the after hours. I had, because it was an amazing move. Let's look at a 5-minute chart after hours. Yeah. They just pumped and then lost it. So if you had read this one and maybe woke up this morning and said, you know, before their earnings, I'm going to buy it here at 130, got here at 141, and then you lost confirmation at 138 and you sold it. Nice pop. Not a huge move. But again, it points out that this article, it's a pretty good article. Now, I'll give you one earnings one that comes up this week. It's an alpha pick. It is an alpha pick, and it's still a buy. It's up 2% in pre-market. They report, I think, on Thursday. But I'll give you a little preview of this one, okay? Wall Street thinks that it's a $120 stock. That's 30% upside. This is OKTA. Okay? You can go and analyze it with AI. You can read what the bulls and bears say. You can go and read the quant rating on it. Positives raised, concerns raised. I like this one. I hold it as part of the Alpha Picks portfolio. But when I go and look at the chart, 4-hour algorithm, it doesn't beat buy and hold. It only wins 32% of the time. But there's a juicy gap up here up to 124. Again, based on earnings, they got dinged down last time. The MACD kind of settled. Hasn't really moved much since the last earnings. It's just kind of gone down from about 108 to 92. Not a huge move for this stock, but a big enough move to cause concern. What I want to point out is a weekly chart of this, because when in doubt, zoom out. And let's take a look at this, because you had old resistance right here, right around that 72 mark. This was December 2022 going into 2023. This is a weekly chart, so each candle represents a week. Then you get turned around and it kind of provides a little support. It's not perfect. but it's close enough for me. Want to know why? Because when you pop up to this high, okay, and then you get down here, that turned into support. It was almost perfect. And now you've gotten over that 112 once, twice, and I want to zoom in and show you these candles because right now that 200-day, which is that red line, is providing you resistance. So if you get a pop on earnings, my guess is you'd get up to 99 or 100. Again, price is all that matters. When you use candles, you become a better investor and a better trader. Take all the indicators out. Just use an old pop where it looks like it pulled back to resistance. And again, that's just two areas in there. And if you pull this back, let's see where everybody's trading it. If you pull this to here where it started the downturn, do we have any? Well, let's pull it back here because I want to see if anybody has price up here. There's nobody that is holding this one. Very few are holding this one at 230. 230. But again, this is an alpha pick. You do your due diligence. That's what you do. So if you want to find out anything on earnings, Earnings Hub is the big deal. Again, earningshub.com. It's free. You got Abercrombie and Finch, which just announced an NFL deal. You got Williams-Sonoma. You got NVIDIA, CrowdStrike, Snowflake, Hewlett Packard, Pure Storage, NetApp. You got Best Buy, you got Dollar General, you got Dick's Sporting Goods, which is always good for a little, is retail going to actually hurt? Is the consumer hurting? You got Dell, Marvell, Affirm. You've got big earnings this week. And then I used TrendSpider to go and scan the 4-hour algorithm. And I said, okay, give me all the stocks that have an entry in the 4-hour algorithm. And I do this every day and I post it in the newsletter. And you can scroll down to the bottom of each daily newsletter, which is free. And you can go and look. Goldman Sachs, 741. I bought down here for below 500. I think it was like 490 or something by the time I got it. But 484 is where the 4-hour algorithm got you in. I got in the next day because I wanted confirmation over the 9-day. And I'm sitting there holding 6 figures. Nice gain. In the core portfolio, Qualcomm. Qualcomm tells you, hey, we may be getting ready for another move up. Are we going back to that 175? Is NVIDIA earnings going to pop Qualcomm? Because make no mistake, any ETF with chips in it, the rest of the chips will move and flow based on NVIDIA's reaction. And then you've got the ETF XLY, which I own because 40% of this ETF is Tesla and Amazon. And those are two stocks that I believe in. Amazon, 22%, Tesla, 15%. So it's 37%. They've reduced their exposure to both. But I still like this ETF. Now, is this one doing well? No. Year to date, let's just look at year to date. It's only up 3% versus the S&P at 9%. I'd be better off in VOO. But I like having exposure to Tesla. Tesla I believe in. So I like that one. We talked about Abercrombie and Finch reporting earnings. They have an entry in the 4-hour algorithm right before earnings at $98. Will they pump to that old support level, 134? They're in an upward trend. Make no mistake, they just signed a deal with the NFL. They're in an upward trend. You have a ton of leveraged ETFs, low-cost ETFs, and stocks in the watch list that got a cross-up and an entry on the 4-hour algorithm. That's it. And so that's the show. If you have any questions, everything is over here on Linktree. Do not miss the TrendSpider sale. Do not miss that. That is such a good price. Again, for this advanced tier, for $107 a month, divide it by 4 because you get 52 training sessions per year. You can literally learn everything about the product. You can learn about technical analysis. They'll show you Fibonacci's. They will show you a lot. You get a one-on-one with a product expert, not me, because I am not a product expert. I use this tool. Before I was an affiliate for them, I was a paying customer. But this sale, Do not miss it. And if you have any questions on it, you can certainly ask me, but ask them as well. One of the big reasons I partnered with TrendSpider and I use TrendSpider as a paying customer is because the customer service is so good. So the trainings, I know you're going to gain a lot of knowledge. If you've got no knowledge whatsoever, I know you're going to gain a lot of knowledge over here on the advanced tier. But if you have any questions, again, everything is on Linktree, even my email address. So you can reply to the daily newsletter that I send out, or you can just send me an email or find me on any of the socials right here. So if you have any questions, hit me up. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.